How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Pixelated Thoughts. The entire crew is here, and on this episode, we're going to be talking about the Devil May Cry anime adaptations currently on Netflix. There's 8 episodes, and as a fan of Devil May Cry, I didn't know what to expect. I kind of thought it'd be more something along the lines of Castlevania. It kind of felt like a prequel, but I had a really good time. I was actually kind of impressed by the animation. I know that a lot of the fan base is not happy with some of the changes made, especially to Mary. They're really not happy about that, but we'll get into it. Let's start with, well, actually, for again, does anyone here ever played Devil May Cry?
I have not.
No, Brad, have you?
I played 2. Like
Wait,
it was
hold
literally
on.
just a
Did you
rental game.
you played 2?
Yeah.
So you played the worst one.
Yeah, it's like literally 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I rented it from it was called Movie Gallery. And I played it for 2 weeks and then returned it. I was never a huge fan of just the button mashing, arena slaughterhouse games,
Mm.
So it really didn't
Hit for
tickle
you?
my fancy.
It's
But
probably it's really funny because I remember the way like you usually rank it is like I think right now 5 is probably the best out of the series, and then 3, and then 1, and then 2, or no 4, and then 1, and then 2. Like for whatever reason, 1 was like really exciting because 1 was supposed to be, I think, Resident Evil 4, and then they pivoted and made a hack and slash game in Devil May Cry. It was wildly popular, successful, and then they made Devil May Cry 2, and they went from like this kind of, really exciting, fun protagonist in Dante to a really bland, brooding character in 2, which made no sense. And then they made 3, which was a prequel, like it's set before the first game, and it was like back to like its roots, but it was also really hard. And then 4 came out, introducing Nero, and then 5 came out like a couple years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago, and that game's massively popular. For some reason, Capcom's just kind of killing it with every game they put out right now, which is kind of surprising. It's just that like some of their adaptations aren't working, like Monster Hunter. Don't watch that movie, please. It's not
grade
good.
A, fantastic.
It is absolutely terrible. Also on Netflix. So let's start with Brad. Brad, what'd you think about the anime? Was it your cup of tea because it was kind of downer sometimes? What did you think?
It was pretty good. I do like the animation. Some of the 3D, 2D fight scenes were
Transitions,
kind
yeah,
of weird. Yeah, just like the highway chase scene. Like
wonky, bro.
so seeing him in 2D and then like he gets on the motorcycle and then for some reason he's just like a 3D model at that point. Some of the facial animations looked
Mm,
like they were at like half frame rate. It didn't look like they animated it all the way. This was a very specific detail, but like the flower snake demon lady when they were in
yeah,
the building, like when she talked, like her face looked like she was like
that
10 FPS. It just didn't look right.
it was so weird because like that character is from Devil May. You first see her in Devil May Cry 4, and when I was like, oh, okay, so they're obviously taking liberties with the timeline and stuff like that. But I was like, why does she look so weird? Like she doesn't look fully detailed. But then when they kill her, they put like a lot of detail in her death, which I thought was
Yeah.
just like kind of a weird thing to do, I guess.
Yeah, like why are we doing that?
Yeah, just strange.
But yeah, so I liked it. It was cool. It was interesting. Once again, I don't know a whole lot about the whole universe, so
Mm.
kind of going in blind. Um, I think it had like the right amount of gore, right? It was pretty brutal, but like it wasn't overtly just spray and like guts and stuff. Like there was enough, there for me. That's just a preference for me. It's like it's not overly graphic. Um, Really, my biggest complaint was Dante wasn't the main character of the season.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
like it was the Mary and the rabbit. Like they were really the two characters that got the most
Screen time. Yeah.
love and backstory.
Who
A
doesn't love
dedicated
the
episode.
Who doesn't love the White Rabbit though? Right. Well, I'll ask you
Me.
guys. Yeah, that was dope.
Me.
A lot of
Um,
people did not like
Yeah.
the way Mary had kind of like translated because they felt like she was a little bit too like naive and angry, which she kind of had the right to
I
be angry because her dad did
I was
kill her
I,
mom.
I was gonna say I feel like it's justified, but
I
Yeah.
I get it. I don't understand the transition was very rough for her. It was just like she was gonna shoot the innocent guy in the face, and then she's like, "Okay, well, I guess there are good demons, so every demon is good until they're
No, they're
deemed not to
not.
be bad." Yeah. Like, it's just like instantly, it's just like, "Oh, okay, I guess everything I believed was just
Everything's
wrong,
fine.
and
Yeah.
I changed now."
Yeah, I think the lack of Dante at times was a little bit disappointing because I love Johnny Young Bosch. I think he's a fucking fantastic voice
Yeah.
actor.
Yeah.
And it's really funny because he's actually the voice actor for Nero in the series. And like some of the, I think, themes that they were pulling out were like not Dante's themes, they were Nero's until you got to the very end when they played Bury the Light, which is like a lot of people's, like, especially for Capcom songs. I'm like, this is a really good, like, song.
I also didn't really care for I liked the music they played. I didn't like some of the remix, like, dance versions of them were a little weird. That was just me
You
personal,
didn't
but
like who was it, Limp Bizkit? Are you serious? You like Limp
Not
Bizkit, bro?
Yeah, I mean it.
I love that. I love that so much because it's literally set in the early 90s, like late 90s,
Yeah,
early
Yeah.
yeah,
2000s.
I was
yeah.
kind of
Like
vibing, I'm
like,
not gonna lie.
I like the music, like, don't get me wrong, I listened to actually almost all of those
Brad's
songs
like, is that
probably
fucking
in the last week.
that Evanescence, dude? I was so I was like, yes, dude. What is this? What's
But
going on?
it's
Am I
like
back in high school?
they added, like, a dance step to it, and it's just like they jazzed it up, and I'm like, "No, no, no, just play the music." Just like, that's all we need, just
Jack,
but yeah,
were you
yeah, it was
super
me.
excited to hear Evanescence? Don't lie to me. Did it bring you back when you were like,
He
yes,
screamed.
Brought me
yes?
back.
He
Brought me
put
back.
he put his hair he put his hair down.
Started putting
He
guy
has like
liner on.
Give
he
me the
had the one
eyeliner.
eye hiding.
Started putting guy liner on and mascara.
Check. What did you think about Devil May Cry?
I liked it. I liked the animation. I liked the character designs. The voice acting was pretty good.
Yeah,
I did like the rabbit as a his voice actor too.
it's fantastic.
He
Did a
was
really
pretty
good job.
good.
Hoon Lee.
I don't have much to go back on because I didn't play the game, so I don't know as
Mhm.
far as the source is concerned. Did it maintain continuity with that source?
Kind of. I think like it so it's kind of hard to describe like how Devil May Cry works because like the first game is essentially like a demon hunt for his father. He's looking for Sparta, and then his brother Virgil, who shows up at the very end. Um, he's necessarily like he's not really a prominent fixture in the game until like the third game, because in the third game when they do the prequel, it's like where every character meets each other. So you have like Dante meeting Mary. She's not named Mary. She's not known as Mary in the game until like four. She's known as Lady, and then her dad Arkham plays like a massive role in that game. And
Hmm.
then it's like Virgil shows up and everyone fucking loves Virgil because he's just like a badass. Like everything he does is like amazing. And so it ends up like kind of, I mean, they're trying to create like a bridge from like, I would say 3 to 1. I don't know if it's gonna work though, because I want to consider it's like an original adaptation with stuff with the games in mind, and eventually it gets there, because really the timeline is like it's 3, 1, 4, 2, and then 5. I might be
Yeah.
wrong. I think it might be Evan. I think 5 might be
Why
like,
is it so convoluted?
because it's Capcom. Capcom, like literally Capcom in the 2000s were like, this looks good. Like, let's just put a game out. And every time they did a sequel, it was like, is there actually some continuity? But the main reason why like 3 is like a prequel is because 2 was so poorly received. They really wanted to like bring back fans. So they made Dante more like himself, and one where he was like the smart ass and he was having a good time, like badass demon fighter, demon hunter, and stuff like that. The thing is, like, the story stuff throughout the series is like not heavy until you hit like 4 and 5. Most of the time it's just like, this is just straightforward. This is like far more complex. Like, we didn't talk about demons potentially being good. We didn't talk about, there was no inclusion of like the vice president trying to nuke hell or whatever, any of that stuff. But it does feature characters at the end that are found in Devil May Cry 2. So that's kind of interesting. But it gets but it's like, it's just one of those things where, if you're a fan, you're probably upset because they took so many liberties with the game, but they tried their hardest to keep Dante who he is, which, charming, asshole, really funny, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Chibi, I told you about Dante last week, right? In our last episode, I said, "Here's your silver-haired
Oh
guy."
yeah,
Yeah,
it was
I did
like
not
straight up
disappoint.
episode 1 or 2.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
pretty much ripped his shirt off, and he's like,
Had to rewatch that a couple times. My biggest complaint, was said before, me more Dante. I need more eye candy. No, but in general, like I thought it was really good and similar. I have literally zero exposure to the series. It's one where like I've heard good things over the years. Like I've heard people really like it. Like I know the general idea, but I've never really played it.
Mhm.
But no, I really enjoyed it. I mean, kind of like Brad said, I thought it was like that good amount of like not too gory, but I enjoyed the scenes because I don't know, too much gore and all that kind of throws me off. The animation I thought was good. I liked the characters a lot too. I thought the voice acting was good. Usually I stay away from the English sub, but
Yeah, no, I thought they did a really
or the
good
English
job.
dub, my bad.
Yeah.
But no, they did a really good job.
It can be kind of rough sometimes, definitely. I was really like, I'm like, I think it's the same studio that made Castlevania.
Okay, yeah,
Like,
because I
and
did
then
like
Castlevania
Castlevania a
The
lot.
Nocturne.
creator or the director is
Adi Shankar, yeah,
the
this is
yeah.
like a part
Mm.
of his like bigger series to kind of branch out into like other video game universes. I think he's making like a Metroid. I might be wrong. It's something else. Like it was just interesting because like Devil May Cry, like it's their games are rated M, but they're not gory, if that makes sense. Like there's
Yeah, it's like mature.
it's like mature. Like there's blood and stuff, and Dante talks a lot of shit, but you're not seeing
I love
things
it.
get ripped apart, which is one of the curious things I had like when I was watching like the earlier scenes where he was like beating the shit out of everyone in the apartment and not killing any of
Mhm.
them, which I thought was interesting. I mean, he hit
We'll
him with
beat
a
you, but I ain't gonna kill
he
you.
hit him with a pool ball right at like Mach speed.
Oh
I'm pretty
yeah.
sure his head should have caved in and he should have died, whatever.
Yeah.
But I was kind of curious to see like how dark it would get because like when they got to the White Rabbit with like the dark com stuff, when they just started slaughtering everybody, I thought that was a good swerve because
Yeah.
pretty much like when you meet those characters, I was like, you guys are all gonna die. Like, right? I mean, it's gonna happen. I just love the fact that the White Rabbit was like fully human,
Yeah.
not playing fucking games either. Like the what's his name, the scientist who like thought he could get him with a grenade. And he just like closed the door on him.
Oh yeah.
That is the most brutal scene. I was like, oh my god, that guy's fucking messed up, man. Fun fact: I think Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman, that was his last.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah, his last
Yep.
thing. But I think he only did the first 4 episodes because the last
Yeah.
4 is done by another actor. He
Yeah,
did
I
a
was
really
looking
good
at the
job.
I was looking at the credits and I was like, he died like 3 years ago, 3 or
Mhm.
4 years ago.
Oh
Yeah.
I'm like, good lord, he held on to this one
Yeah,
yeah.
for quite a while.
I mean, the studio did, Brad. Like,
Yeah, well, I
he
mean,
I was
can't.
like,
Is he?
yeah, I was like,
He's a
yeah,
ghost with a recording.
boy.
He's like, remember to put
Yeah.
this in the lodge.
Whenever.
Find me Dante.
he just recorded a bunch of stuff. Didn't even have the part yet. It was just recording lines.
What did you guys think of? And I'm sure I asked Brad this first because he brought up like Mary and the White Rabbits episode. What did you think of that episode? Because that was like that was a huge. That was kind of like, to me, it kind of went from like kind of being like a comedy, dark action to like
Yeah,
a straight
so-
up dark drama.
Dark.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that shit. I was like,
I don't think they should have dedicated a whole episode to it. Like once again, because it didn't it changed the vibe of the show like
This is
completely.
Brad. How come Dante ain't swinging his sword right here?
I feel like I respectfully disagree with that, but
I just think
continue,
it's
Brad.
wild that they showed nothing of his past other than like flashbacks of his mother saying the exact same thing over and over, and then he punched his brother that one time. Like that was literally
There's
his backstory.
There's literally not much backstory to Dante outside of that. That's even true in the games where it's like when they like you don't even I don't really think they mention Virgil in 1 or 2, but in 3 it's like he has a twin. We're like, he has a twin. What the fuck?
Where did this come from?
Where did this dude show up at, man?
I liked that episode. I mean, it was a cool episode. It's just like I was waiting for it to tie in somehow, and they're just like, all right, back to next episode. All right, they're back to doing whatever they do.
Yeah, it really kind of it was kind of strange for them. I think if you're gonna have like a subplot, right? I don't know if like a subplot should be an entire episode. I do kind of agree with
Also,
that.
I also got really confused at the beginning of the episode when it was going back between the two. I'm like, is that Dante? Like what? Like who is this? Because it was like
Yeah.
Mary and then
Who is
the
this white
rabbit
boy?
dude, and it was like I was like, wait, is that
Who,
Mary?
the
Why
white
did
boy?
her eyes change? Why? did she go through the portal and like now lives in a house with her parents? I was like, what is going on? And then like it dawned on me like 3 minutes in. I was like, okay, this is two separate stories, and they're
Brad,
not Dante for
Brad's
some
in there
reason.
like, am I the dumb one, bro? What's happening here?
Who's Dante?
I just want Jack to be like, I know who everyone was at the same time, and that would make Brad feel the entire time. Jack's like, I paid attention.
They kind of gave a clue with the book.
Well, yeah. So that was the thing, was he was holding the book, and I'm like, okay, I get it. There's a rabbit, but I'm like, I didn't expect them to go into the rabbit's backstory. Like that was the thing, was like,
I still don't think he should have survived, right, in that area, because like the sulfur and the smell, like that should have killed him.
Yeah.
Because you're
Yeah.
a small child, like your lungs are still
Like,
developing.
how are
still-
you different?
Yeah.
Like what makes you special?
How are you getting in
The
that
will of the
area?
rabbit.
Where's the plot armor?
Yeah, with a little bit of plot armor and stuff like that. Even though
well, he had the little cloth mask thing.
oh,
Where you,
that
Oh
over
yeah,
the-
yeah. That's
Listen.
how how people stopped getting COVID too.
that was like my beef with 28 weeks later, when they like the nerve gas and stuff like that, and he just put like a cloth over his mouth. I'm like, look, you can pull up that ball of cloth all the fuck you want. That's not gonna stop that shit from getting in. You know what I mean? And them getting in the car and like touching the vents, like, we're gonna survive this. I'm like, no, you'd probably be dead by now. Like, that's not how any of that
like a
works.
theory.
I just thought like when I first saw the episode, I was like, this is a great episode, right? But I then realized there was like 8 episodes, and I was like, oh man, this is kind of late in
Yeah.
the game to have this.
Yeah.
But I understand, because like there is a backstory between the White Rabbit and Mary. But I like the White Rabbit as a character. I thought he was menacing. I thought he was perfectly menacing the
Yeah.
entire time.
Mhm.
They even talked shit to Virgil, which I was like very surprised about, because Virgil as Nero Angelo is like incredibly powerful in the games. Like he's almost unstoppable.
I did call he was Virgil immediately though. I was like, that's Virgil.
Yeah, the moment he says like his brother, it was like, oh yeah. Hopefully put two people put 2 and 2 together, and like, is that Dante's dad?
Is this his dad?
Hi, Dante's dad. It's like, oh my god.
Hi, Dad.
But yeah, I think I was just curious, because like usually with Adi Shankar's like adaptations, there's a lot of like drama, and I was like curious to see like how the fan base would handle it when you take a strict action title that's kind of over the top, and then you kind of put like a lot of like drama into it. Like you inserted a conflict that was not there in the game. Okay, the United States was not invading hell for oil. Like, that did not happen. But I
Be
like,
cool if it did though.
but what is it, Doom? Is it get the Doom Slayer? That's essentially what happened at Doom. We're going to Mars, dude. Oh shit. But no, I was like curious to see like how this would play out, like what they would add to in terms of a story, and I think they've kind of stopped at a good point too, because you now have the introduction of Virgil in his like full form, or his human form, right? And then you have like Dante on ice. So I'm curious to see how that all works out, and whether or not it actually leads into like the 3rd game or the 1st game. You have something.
I am kind of upset at how the ending happened when
Talk.
she like, tranquilized him. I was like, after all of that, after like all of that,
I think it had to, like, in my opinion, I think they didn't have any other choice,
well,
because
like
Dante is so abnormally strong that there's no
Yeah.
way that like outside of somebody getting close to him and tricking him, but they killed old boy on the roof. Right, so when the broker got killed, I was like, I think it was named Enzo. When he got killed, I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
Enzo.
So I thought he was gonna betray him again. Didn't happen. So when it was Mary, I was like, that kind of makes sense, because like there's no other character that could get close to him at that point.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
don't know.
unless the vice president shakes his hand, and as he's shaking his hand, he hits him with the darts. Ah. So Jack, like, what was your I had asked this about Castlevania too, I think. Did this make you want to play the games for Jack? Like, did it want you to make you like check out the game to see what it's about, or were you like,
Yeah,
nah, it's not me?
I mean, if the game is story based, I think I'd enjoy it.
It's not really.
But if is it just straight up fighting all the time?
It has story in it, but it's mostly action, and it's going to be confusing at parts, because there's like,
Old God of War or Bayonetta. I mean, it's
Have
just,
you
you're
played-
just
have-
running around.
yeah, have you played Bayonetta at all?
Uh-uh.
Like, it's a hack and slash game. Like, it's essentially meant for like combos and style and stuff like that. Like,
Gotcha.
you being able to chain together really cool combos. It's really hard
Okay.
to like get people into
Beautiful
the series
Joe.
now, because 5 is the most modern, and even
Mhm.
5 is still like strictly an action game, and even though there is narrative, you will be so confused when you see all these different characters that aren't Dante. You're like, where's Dante? Why am I
Where's
playing
Dante?
Nero? Why am I looking at Virgil or V? Where's Dante? That type of stuff. You probably get confused about it.
Yeah, there is a narrative though.
Yeah, it's there somewhere, big
Vague
dog.
narrative.
It's there somewhere,
Just the way
big dog.
Kim's saying it.
You just gotta squint
You
at
gotta
it.
find it. You
It's
gotta
in the
find
it's
I
in the
mean,
loading screen between levels. It just it
yeah.
gives you some
That's
text.
Oblivion. It's like that's what I'm supposed to be doing in the game. I just thought I was gonna bully fucking farmers all day.
Yeah, I mean, it did give me a I want to play the game.
At least check it out. There's
Yeah, at least check it out.
a lot of YouTube videos you can check out for the lore, like the breakdown of the entire timeline.
Mm.
You'll also find people complaining about like this adaptation, they ruined Mary. I'm like, well, if you played 3, she wasn't exactly like a likable character early on. It takes a bit because she tries to fight you a little bit. Plus, like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have seen the designs of like Mary or Lady. Yeah, she got them things out. Pretty much, essentially, yeah.
Damn. All right.
Yeah. That's how Capcom was designing characters in the 2000s,
Yeah,
all right?
trust. I know. I've seen. But yeah, that was gonna be my question. Is like, what are people's like biggest qualms like with the adaptation? Because I remember seeing there was some issues.
Mostly the beef with Mary.
Is it like character design and like how like
no,
like
it was like
she's
it was like character assassination stuff. They thought like, oh, she's too
Mhm.
aggressive. I'm like, she's aggressive in the games. I was like, she's
yeah.
aggressive
Well,
when they
also
first
isn't she
introduced
the
her.
fucking leader of the what's it called?
She's leader of the
again?
Dark Com
Yeah,
squad,
like,
right?
what do you expect?
Dark Com isn't really even brought up. I think it's like brand new to the series.
Mhm.
I mean, her dad fucking tried to be
Yeah.
the devil and then killed
Yeah, it
her
was
mom,
insane.
right?
Yeah, like in front of her. Okay.
Brutal. You know what I mean?
I just thought he was Nosferatu.
Yeah,
He-
Nosferatu.
I
He
was
did look like that.
I was curious to see how they handle it, but like I think I think some people were complaining about like seeing Virgil so soon, like in the first episode, in the form of that the blob guy, right? But a lot of people love the White Rabbit. Now he's in the manga too.
Yeah.
There is a manga adaptation,
Okay.
and people do like the White Rabbit. I think he's a cool ass character.
No, I thought he was cool.
Yeah, I liked it.
I like the fact that he's like, you know, kind of a capable antagonist who can fight. Obviously you can't beat Dante. The thing is, like, Dante is meant to be OP, like the entire time.
Punch Man.
They felt like he was like a little bit weak, but I'm like, this is not Dante who is like fully in tune with the
Like
devil.
peak.
With the
Yeah.
devil trigger.
Right, he didn't know about the whole devil trigger.
Didn't know anything about that, which I thought was like annoying that people nitpick a shit ton. So like this is like my problem with people who are very much big fans of the game, but have already made their impressions.
Kind of like
They have their impressions ready before actually watching the adaptation. That's the problem with like The Last of Us. For those who don't know, The Last of Us season 2 just had its second episode, and its second episode had like the big reveal from The Last of Us Part 2, which is like it's like the really big twist, which pissed off people who played the game, and it essentially pissed off people who watched the show. But like, I really feel
we have
like
a spoiler. What is it? I'm curious. I've never seen it.
You never watched
no
the
idea.
show? I mean,
No.
I haven't watched it.
All right. Spoiler alert.
I haven't played it, but I know what happens.
Spoiler alert for anyone who has not watched or played or who's watching The Last of Us Last of Us. So Joel, who's the main character, who's one of the main characters, right?
Yeah.
He is murdered by the daughter of the surgeon that he killed at the fire from like the against the Firefly. So basically, like in the first season, he goes to go get Ellie. Ellie's supposed to have like this surgery to like save, to potentially see why she's immune. Joel goes in, starts killing fireflies, and ends up killing the main surgeon, who happens to be Abby's dad. She goes to Jackson, like 5 years later with her team and stuff like that, and then they have this whole thing that gets set off. Basically, she kind of tricks Joel because she's acting like a survivor into going into this like place where they can kind of find refuge against the infected, and they corner him. They knock out the person he's with. I think it's Dean in the show, but it was like supposed to be his brother. Shoot him in the leg with a shotgun, tourniquet his leg, and then beats him to death with a golf club.
Oh my god! And that's like canon in the game?
in the game, like, yeah. So basically, when Joel gets cornered, he's just like,
Yeah.
"Who are you people?" But then he's like, he kind of resigns himself to his face, like, just do what you have, like, save your speech and do what you have to do, type
Yeah.
shit. And then he gets beaten to death with a golf club. Ellie, who comes out from patrol,
Mhm.
finds Joel, gets knocked out, and then gets the finishing. Gets to see the finishing blow on him. In the
Ah,
show,
man.
the finishing blow is not a golf club to the head. The finishing blow is that the golf club breaks in half from hitting him so much, so he gets stabbed in the neck.
Oh.
Nice.
It is brutal, and
Oh
people
my
are
god.
pissed because Joel is played by Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
People love Pedro Pascal,
I
except
do like
he
Pedro
does
Pascal.
die in a lot of his films and TV series. Dies in Gladiator 2,
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Kingsman, what was it?
211.
Died in Game of Thrones, right? Got his
Yeah.
head
Oh,
smashed
yeah.
in.
Spoiler.
You were like
Smashed,
5 years too late.
smashed in, you know? Which
Damn.
you know, is a thing, but yeah, so people already
But why
had
were
why were what?
Sorry, go ahead. No, I was gonna say, why are the people who play the video game mad? Is it
They
'cause
were
it's a little different?
because the impression is that Joel
Mm.
was supposed to be the main character. It was never really
Yeah.
meant to be Joel. It was always supposed to be passed on to Ellie. Ellie was supposed to be the
Yeah,
main
yeah.
character. The Last of Us Part 2 is about revenge, but it's about how revenge consumes you and is very toxic. That's why like there's no true end or no good ending for anybody.
Yeah.
But like people, like a lot of video game adaptations that take the source material and make like hard adjustments, people are really upset about like some of the changes, which is something I was going to say. Like, you guys have never played Devil May Cry,
Mm-mm.
right? And I assume some of you will never touch that. You guys are just watching this with fresh eyes. And you're just like, oh,
Yeah.
Dante's a cool character. Like, this seems like a really interesting story. Like, I'm glad you guys enjoyed it and had impressions with like an open mind and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
What I've learned is that throughout the years, that when you have a like adaptation, most people who are fans expect like a 1-for-1. You can't have a 1-for-1 in Castlevania. You can't have a 1-for-1 in Devil May Cry because like the
Yeah, it's
stories are
hard.
so loose
It doesn't make sense.
that you
Yeah.
can make adjustments. Now with like The Last of Us, it's a very tight narrative, but it's not
Mhm.
meant. But with the way the game is played, the way the story is played out, it's like that's for the game, right? The Last of Us is being made for a TV audience who has never
I
played the
see.
game
Mhm.
and is never
Mhm.
going to play the game. So you have to structure it differently because
Mhm.
it would be confusing to constantly jump between timelines, right?
Yeah.
So you can't do that. You can't really tell that narratively. It would just be too confusing. It never works.
Mhm.
Tell that
So-
to The Witcher.
I did. I mean, The Witcher struggled, dude. Like, have you not seen, did you not watch
It
season
did.
2? Like, season
Man,
2
I
was
Yeah,
not
loved
that
season
good.
1, man.
Yeah, it was the best
But
of
that's
that week that came out.
but that's basically how it's worked. Like, I remember seeing the complaints about Castlevania Nocturne, where they're like, "How come there's a woman there?" Same thing in Last of Us. They're like, "This character doesn't look like Ellie." I'm like, dude,
It's so fucking stupid.
Ellie is first off, Ellie is a child in the game, in the
Mhm.
first game. So stop trying to fucking sexualize children, you weirdos.
Yeah.
And then 2, like, Bella Ramsey's a really good actress.
Oh, she was great.
She
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
nailed it in this episode.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, it's just happened. It was like it was always a thing that I've always wanted to ask. Like, you know, what happens when an adaptation is not 1-for-1? Because like, look, the Halo series was a fuck up. Let's be honest. If you haven't watched it, don't. But like, it felt disrespectful. The changes that the writers made to the Halo series felt disrespectful to the game itself. And it also was kind of insulting the gamers because they're like, well, the Master Chief has to take off his helmet. I'm like, no, the fuck he doesn't.
Doesn't.
The helmet doesn't define him as a character. Like, it's kind of like Spider-Man, right?
It does.
When Stanley wrote that character, Spider-Man was supposed to be like, anyone could be Spider-Man.
Mhm.
That was the point. With Master Chief, it's like he's a super soldier, but that like him not taking off his helmet doesn't mean shit. He's just like, you know, a broken character who's constantly like pushing to do the right thing, right?
Mhm.
That's how that stuff is. But like in the show, they had him take off his helmet constantly, and also he slept with like a Covenant spy, and people were like, "Why would, dude?" When they
Oh shit.
when they did that, man, I was like, the Master Chief would never bang a fucking Covenant spy, dude. Like, what is happening? It was really
Yeah.
bad. So we've, you know, that's why most people are like against certain adaptations. Like,
understand.
they have like their opinions are super harsh. But like, if you have like
Yeah.
a loose narrative, You know, like if you want to complain
Like,
about
what do you
Until Dawn,
expect? Yeah.
if you want to complain about Until Dawn, which I don't know if you guys have seen the trailer. Jack, have you seen the trailer for Until Dawn?
Aren't they
Because you like
making
horror.
yeah, I was
I
gonna say, I
have,
just
but
saw the
it
trailer.
doesn't really
What
look like
what the fuck
what
are we
Until
doing,
Dawn
bro?
I'm
actually.
not gonna lie, I did not think it was the same thing. I was like, "Are they trying to do the video game?" And I was
No,
like, "This is a lot different."
I think
Yeah, this looks like it's going through a different story.
it looks like they just took the name and the fact that the
Yeah.
butterfly effect
Yeah.
exists, and
Yeah,
then they're
and
like,
then
"This
just
is the movie now," and I'm like,
yeah.
"That's not what that was." Until Dawn like had a set story, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like it would be a really
We
good movie
we got
too.
the dadgum chupacabras, or whatever the fuck they're called. So, but it's like they took that and they're like, "That wouldn't be interesting." I'm like, it would be. You have a bunch of
Yeah.
teenagers who are like, I'm all for the
We already have
teenager
Cabin in the
slashers, dude.
Woods.
This is
So
true. We have Cabin in the Woods, which you
I
probably
feel like you could
never
make it
watched.
I liked Cabin in the Woods. I feel like you
yeah,
could make a spin-off or like a twist on it. Like it's a cool idea. I mean, it's a little
But
been done, but
it's
you
essentially
could
why
make it
like I
fresh.
think like people see video game adaptations and there's still a lot of skepticism around it. Like I think they
Mhm.
want it to be a certain way, and when it's not, like it's just not good narratively. If you're trying to tell a story for a character and it's based off loose events, you're allowed to kind of freely fix things around.
Mhm.
However, if it's something that's super structured, I think you can be critical. Like I think you can be really critical of Until Dawn. Like if that movie bombs, nobody's going to be surprised.
Yeah.
Not a single person. But if you make something
Well, yeah,
like,
especially if they're using the name to try to hook people into thinking it
yeah, exactly,
is
dude.
based off of the game.
But then you see, but
unless
then you
it's
see the
Chris Pratt in
trailer.
the movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
needs more Chris Pratt as Garfield.
Oh god.
But then you see something like, you see the trailer for Until Dawn and everyone goes,
This ain't it.
Sony's making it?
Yeah.
Like, does Sony know that this game is being adapted? Like, what are we doing here? Like, I feel like maybe if they made, instead of calling it like Until Dawn, like they made it a part of the what's that anthology series? Yeah,
Dark
the
Anthology.
Dark Anthology series.
Oh, yeah,
Absolutely.
that would've been
I think that'd
smart.
be
Yeah,
great.
Mhm.
And then you
because
can
Yeah.
those
have
were all isolated stories.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that would've made a little bit more sense too, because then you have a little bit more freeway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like somehow you come up with a movie that I think premise wise would be kind of cool, like a little Groundhog Day horror
Wow.
film, but it's not
I
Until
love that.
Dawn, you know?
Yeah.
Why not?
He's
Because there's no
He's a
cabin in the
sassy tonight.
woods. They ain't got no Hayden Panettiere. I think that's her name.
I
can't-
love Hayden Panettiere. Yeah,
Me
no, I
too,
love
dude. I was a huge fan of her in Heroes.
that. Mhm. Mhm.
Save the cheerleader, save the
No,
world.
thank you.
Hey, yo. We got a hater.
But I think like especially with Devil May Cry, I was like, this is a fun adaptation. I mean,
Yeah.
they do introduce a bunch of enemies that were in like all over the place. Like the twins, I
Mhm.
think were in 3. The twin elementals, I think they were in 3, and then the plant lady, she was in 4, and I was like, okay. But it was
Owner and
it was fun. I think the animation was really, really well done. Like some of the fight scenes. I think Johnny Young Bosch as Dante nailed it. That was a home run.
yeah, it was really good.
I think I love that scene, and it gets referenced so much where they're like in his apartment shooting. He's like, "What are we shooting at?" And they're like-
Oh yeah, that was funny as hell.
I was like, "I love that shit, dude." Yeah, I don't think like, and I agree with Brad. I think probably the one beef I would have is like, there's not enough Dante until like the
Agreed.
the end, right? Well, of course, for you, Chibi, like we're not
Sorry.
surprised.
Yeah, it's,
Don't be a
yeah.
hater.
Once again, the other thing was like the mashup of the 3D
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
CGI and the 2D, like when they were falling from the plane and when he does the devil trigger and he's 3D, but everyone else he's carrying is 2D. It like looked a little funny. It just didn't.
I had the same problem. I think it was like Castlevania Nocturne, the most recent season. So they have like the big fight scene like near the end, and I was like, God, the 3D mashup just does not look great. Like it just kind of ruins it because like Richter Belmont in that season is the absolute fucking demon. And for some reason he's like 2D animated, I think the whole fight. Or maybe it's just like a really good blend, but for some reason like the main villainess is, I'm like, why does that look weird? Like why can't you guys just have that type of consistency? But yeah, like I felt like there were some scenes where I don't think the 3D was warranted. Like I think for the twins, I don't think you need to have that when they were fighting on the plane. I was like, you don't have to do
Yeah.
that. Like it does look weird when you're seeing like a 2D character fight a 3D character, and like the 3D character is like obviously 3D. Like
Was
it doesn't look
the
great.
dragon dude? The guy with the wings and the big sword. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
know
yeah.
who he
I know
was,
what you're talking
but
about. Yeah.
like that guy was always 3D, like regardless of what he was doing.
Very
It was just
awkward too, right? Like, cause it was like their fight scene I thought was kind of cool at times, but also I was like, why? I mean, he had like my favorite death of the whole show.
yeah,
The portal thing
that one
was
was pretty
Yeah,
sick.
that was pretty cool.
and
It's like I
Dante.
wish you could have saw it.
That was so awesome. I was hoping, like, I think my mom's favorite scene was like in the first episode where Dante like had the gut up to the kid. He was like, "That's a demon." They're like, "You're gonna shoot a baby?" I'm like, if I had, that's not a baby. He gets hit in the head. By the way, we didn't resolve what happened to the baby, so we can all just assume that the kid is dead. If that makes
well, well, so
No, you see them on. Isn't there the woman and the baby on the bridge
are
in the
they?
last episode?
I mean, dude, if they're on the bridge, they're dead, dude. Like, was
Oh yeah, I mean,
yeah, they had the demons, bro. That kid is dead, homie. You
yeah.
know?
well, so for him to shapeshift into that character, it has to be living tissue. So
Right. Oh, that's true.
It was
assuming it
alive.
has to be alive at that time, it
That's
may have been.
when a lot of people saw the Virgil, when they saw him make Virgil, like, dude, Virgil has to be alive. That's amazing. I was like, yeah. I didn't think they'd show him so soon, though. I thought
Yeah.
you'd have a little bit more mystery about Dante's brother and stuff like that.
The art style, I mean, obviously,
Mm.
Castlevania and all that, but it gave me very Invincible vibes. Just like
But with way better animation.
I mean, that's fair. That's
If
true.
you've seen Invincible, its only issue is that like you have fantastic voice acting, you have great dialogue, you have like a really good story. They animate it's like, oof, man, we are not cooking here. And Devil May Cry is like, let's make this fucking really dope ass animation and stuff like that. So I thought they did a really good job. It was kind of the same issue I had with like Castlevania Nocturne. I think season one. There are some fights where I'm like, why does Richter look the way he looks? Like it doesn't look. It's like his facial features are too sharp. But then they made him in like the final like second season. They like whatever they did, dude. They just threw money at the animators. Like make this look really good, and it did. Like
What a
that.
thing.
They had a whole scene where like I think the little girl she summons like a Maria. She summons like an entire like demon from hell, and I'm like, holy shit, that looks amazing. And then I'm like watching Devil May Cry. I'm like, this was the same studio, right? Like, why do they look so weird? Like,
What are you guys doing? Where's the budget?
at least, I mean, I just think like the other thing I really liked about it was like they didn't pull punches in this show.
Hmm.
That was like my number one like question. I'm like, Andy Shankar has like a history of like, I mean, Castlevania, you see a baby get eaten by a demon. So I was like, I better see some children getting killed in this fucking show and be very
Damn. All right. Y'all heard it here first. Kind of trying to see kids get murdered.
I'm just saying Dante saves this kid, but like what happened to the child afterwards? Like did he just get abandoned in a hole somewhere? Like what are we doing here? Also, Dante getting knocked out by a bag was kind of weird. Him getting destroyed by that purse. Oh, question. Did anyone see the twist with the white rabbit? Did anyone think that when you first noticed him, was he like a demon, or did you guys always think like it was like a mask the entire time?
Mm,
What did you guys
I
think?
thought it was a demon the whole time.
Because that mask is
Up
like
until-
real.
up
That
until
mask. That
yeah.
mask fits really well, bro.
Yeah.
yeah,
does.
Yeah.
that was my thing. Was like
Yeah.
the face.
Yeah.
No, I
How's
agree. I
it?
think
How's
I
it
was thinking
moving
it was a
around so
demon.
well?
Yeah.
So the heart thing. That was the thing that I was like he's not normal, right? But I
Yeah.
didn't think he was a demon because he just like he didn't have other than having a rabbit's head. He didn't have any like demon-esque features like
Qualities.
every other demon it
Yeah.
does.
I think that like really adds to the story though. That like you have a human on the demon side and stuff like that.
It was sad.
Hmm.
They killed them demon kids though.
Yeah, they did.
That was the most.
That
I
was
think
your demon kid murder.
I think
right
that was
there.
the most brutal scene. That was like the most unexpected because I did not expect them, Darkcom, to like trap them in
Yeah.
in trucks and then kill them. I was like, oh, we're going there. Holy
That's
shit,
what we're
this is
doing.
dark. I'm like USA, USA.
Dude, freaking
Living up
when the
to
sh-
the
when-
name.
when the shapeshifter dude was like, we actually might not be able to beat y'all.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah, that's
he's
brutal.
right. They're not going to
Yeah, dude.
because we have a Dante.
We have a Dante. I mean, they did everything they could to actually also like make Dante look cool. Like when he first gets shot with a shotgun and he heals, and he's like, think of me as like a superhero.
Yeah, that was cool.
It's like I don't call myself a superhero, but your mom does. I was like, oh, I was like, oh my god, I might shoot him again. I might shoot him in the face for that shit. Yeah, when it got dark though. I'm glad that they like committed to it because most shows when they get to those scenes, they don't really commit to those scenes. They just kind of like dance around it a bit. But Devil May Cry did not, which I appreciate. So I think the second season was already approved. I'm assuming it's going to be next year, potentially year after. Um, but it was just curious to kind of see the reactions on Reddit because I went in and I was like, oh, this is really fun. Like this is a pretty good show. And then I
Did you
saw,
watch the original
oh
animation?
yeah, and from 2008. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was weird. I do not like so like for some reason, and I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Vampire Hunter D. Anyone ever heard that anime? Vampire Hunter
Nope.
D came out like in the 90s and stuff like that. Maybe the 80s, but like the facial style is very like sharp. And Devil May
Mm.
Cry, the original 2008 anime, is somewhat the same way. It's kind of it feels like it's I don't know, Brad, you watched it, right? The one 2008?
Some of it,
Kind
like
of
I
looks like
remember watching it.
kind of looks like Helsing a little bit.
Yeah.
But the story is not really connected to anything and it's just like uber violent. But I think it's canon to the series, I believe, because they introduced a character that shows up in Devil May Cry 4 in a phone call where Dante gets really pissed off at her. Is like, stop calling, because he saves her.
Is
And
this
like,
this Trisha person?
no, Trisha is no, it's a Marie. I think her name is
Oh.
Trisha. Is what's the best way to describe this? It's like the reincarnation of his mom.
Oh.
And
Interesting.
when you see her in the game, you're like, it feels like there's like this weird romantic tension between them, and I'm like, so he's got an Oedipus complex, but like Dante doesn't show like any like romantic interest back between Lady or Trisha or Trish because he thinks like his like if he thinks that if he gets romantically involved with anybody, it might be like a second coming of what happened to his father with Sparta, stuff like that.
Nice.
I don't think I'm fairly certain that I think like this upcoming season will probably be like more Devil May Cry 3 with Virgil and stuff like that because I just want to see him cut people apart, right, with his katana, which is
What
really
about the
funny.
scythe?
I don't think he uses a scythe that much. That's like dude. Why would you use that when you could just like say you're the storm that's approaching?
Oh, that's true. That's fine.
And
That's
everyone
valid.
gets really fucking hyped up. I really like this show, man. Dude, it's really disappointed going on Reddit and seeing people's reactions like, what did they do? Not my Dante. That's not my lady. Yeah,
Man, they
hashtag
need to shut up.
hashtag not my lady. People are very
What I've learned, people are fucking just they always want to bitch. They always want to bitch about something. Like, just enjoy it.
can't be
We should
happy.
get it.
Can't be happy
Can't be
about
happy.
shit,
No,
man.
no.
No, can't please anyone.
Has anyone watched the movie Sinners?
I've heard of it. I haven't watched it.
Fuck.
Oh, that's on.
It just
Is
came
it
out.
bad?
No, fucking tremendous movie.
Bad?
That might
Oh,
be,
is it
good?
good?
Oh.
Okay.
that
I
might
was
be
like-
like I've
I
watched.
do want to watch it.
Ryan Coogler, who made Creed, Black Panther, and Fruitvale Station. He's a fantastic director. He made
Mhm.
Sinners, and that movie is fucking amazing. Like I'm very.
Oh, Michael B. Jordan. Say
Yeah.
less.
Multiple.
There's twins. He's twins in that movie. Double the Michael B. Jordan.
Say less.
Gross. All right. I think we're all in agreement that Devil May Cry was good. I'm kind of glad that I was thinking like Brad. It might not be your cup of tea when it started getting really dark, but I am glad that you liked it.
No, like once
I-
again, I don't mind drama. Like I don't mind
Nah,
the
he hates
serious
it.
stuff. But it's just like when it is the main focus. Like let's just be real sad and gloomy and like there's no humor and it's just you
Brett,
just
You don't
continue
want
with
to
it.
be like me,
Sad.
bruh.
You know what? What are you talking
Exactly.
about? Every
Maybe
time
like Jack-
Evanescence came up, Jack was like, "Yes, dude. Like this is what I'm talking about."
Yes.
Grabs his black cat. He's like, "Ah."
You ever see
Flips
those
his hair
Emo's
to
Not Dead videos?
yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
remember?
that's how I am when it all comes out.
What?
That's great.
What was that one song they were singing in that one video? And tonight's the night I'll fall for you.
Oh yeah.
And
Over
tonight's the night
The night that
again.
I will fall for
fall
you
for you.
over again.
You're already the voice.
But it's like, I mean, I was kind of shocked that they actually like the Limp Bizkit thing threw me off at first, and I was like laughing so hard when that came up. I don't think
Yeah.
I've seen many animations that actually have that much licensed music. I remember there's a season of JoJo's
Oh my
that has
God.
like Casey and JoJo as like one of the end songs. I can't remember what song it was, but I was like, why the fuck is this the ending song to this? That is fantastic. What should we do next for Pixelated Thoughts? What do you guys want to do next?
So when I was watching Devil May Cry, when I finished it, it recommended, which I've heard mixed things about it, but the other Capcom, Onimusha.
Oh,
I know it's
Onimusha.
older.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've actually
Um,
watched that.
yeah.
I
I have no
have
idea what
mixed
that is.
feelings on it.
Yeah.
I was pretty. I wasn't like upset, but it is strange to have an original story, especially for a game that like I have like huge attachment to. I'm a big fan
Wait,
of
how do you spell it?
Onimusha, Onimus.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
HA.
HA. Onimusha is like I played the shit out of the first game to the point where I could speedrun. It was like the first game I ever actually tried to speedrun. And then the second game's getting the second game's getting a remaster. Onimusha 3 is probably one of the best games I've ever played from Capcom. And then they just announced they're pretty much bringing the series back. So when they showed the anime, I was like, is this going to have Samanosuke, who's like the main character? Nope. It had like another character. I was like, who is this? I was like,
Who the fuck?
what are we doing? Say my Onimusha.
Not my yeah,
Hashtag not my Onimusha.
Hashtag bring him back.
But I agree with Brad. We can watch that too because, like, I mean, it's another video game adaptation
There's that, and then Yakuza.
on on Amazon.
Yeah,
Has anyone played the Yakuza series outside of me and Brad?
I played.
Brad, I don't think you're gonna like it, dude. Like,
What's
it's
the latest one?
the way I describe it to people is like it's
Oh,
always
so when they did the remaster collection,
Mm.
I played 2 hours of 3,
Yeah.
and I'm like, when does the game start? Like, what is happening right now?
That's the
They're
neat
just-
part. It doesn't. It
Damn.
takes like 6 hours to get going. So
I loved one of
I
my favorite games of that year was Like a Dragon. Like I absolutely
I
phenomenal game.
love the Yakuza series, all of them. When I got to when I got to watch the Amazon show, I was watching it on one of my flights, and I was just like, I really want to like this show, but it doesn't feel. It felt so like when I'm talking like when I say over the top violence, like the game has over the top violence, but it's not gory. We're talking like buckets of blood in some of this, and like it's massively violent, and so watching it, I was like, it was okay. Some really cool scenes, but like the main character, just like when you see Kiryu in the game, he is like the biggest Japanese person you've ever seen, like muscular wise. He's just beating the shit out of people. And the guy who plays him does a really admirable job, but he doesn't feel convincing as Kiryu because Kiryu is like this really silent, like incredibly badass person. But I was shocked about how violent it was. I was like, whoa, holy shit, are we getting like arms cut off and shit? People getting like just gored and stuff. But I felt like in terms of an adaptation, it was just okay, because at some point it like gets a little bit too melodramatic. So if you want to watch that, we can.
Also played Judgment too. And so I guess I played all the other games.
Oh,
other
Judgment
than
is so
Yakuza.
fucking good, dude. Judgment, like I said, the Yakuza series, like there's Judgment and there's the second, I think the sequel to it. That game is fucking fantastic. They treat that like a police procedural, and it's like super dark and super violent. Like I love it. I think most people who play Yakuza would really like the game. You would just have to like, if you watch the show, you got to keep an open mind. Like it's really telling like part of his story, but it's not. It lacks kind of the charm of the games. Like the games are wacky, dude. And Brad knows, like there's some fucking weird shit going on, man. Like the best
It's
parts,
Japan. I mean,
the best parts
yeah.
of those games. And like here's what's crazy. Every game practically takes in Kamurocho, which is like this like very small kind of derelict, like kind of small, like ambitious city or whatever. Every game, like they don't even like try to change anything. They're just like, hey, we opened up some spots for you. Here's an internet cafe, right? You can go there. You guys can go play golf and baseball.
Now, Like a Dragon, you don't start there,
No.
but you get shot in the face, and then they jump your body in.
That was
Kamurocho
a bold move, because you get like that's essentially Yakuza 7. So like pretty much they went from like a straight up brawler, like a really fun, easy action game, not really easy sometimes, and they made it to an RPG, and everyone said it's not gonna work ever, never gonna work. I was fucking wrong. that you get like 70. I think the first game is around 70 hours to beat. The second game is like 100 hours to beat. Like, and
Holy shit.
it's set in between like
Jesus.
Hawaii and Okinawa, and it is a ton of fun. It's also incredibly dark.
And you're
Like,
pirates.
and there's a pirate
Oh.
one that I'm currently playing through. That's like
Oh,
30
yeah.
hours, but it's like a side character. I'm like, why do you guys do this?
Yeah,
Why
it
am
was
I
interesting how they have
actually a
the
pirate?
mini games. Yeah. Well,
Oh,
it
dude,
was interesting how they have all the different mini games inside the game.
In
I
Yakuza
think
0, you get to run a cabaret club. And let me explain
hmm
something. That cabaret club can be a game by itself. It is so involved. You are
it,
literally like getting the girls to like set up like the buy me a drink girls, stuff like that, getting them set up in like certain spots, making
The
sure their
booths. Yeah.
conversations get like set up properly, making sure their shifts are good. I'm like, there's so much management to it, and it's the only way to really make money. Because I think in like a Dragon, you actually have to run that to make like a certain amount of money before you can
yeah,
proceed with the final chapter.
you
And
have to
it's
hit like $1 million or
yeah,
whatever.
it is.
Right.
And I'm like, sweet, I get to stop and just play this for like fucking 3 hours, dude.
No, so the first mini game you play in Like a Dragon, you become a homeless person,
Yeah.
and you have to pick up cans on the side of the road on a bicycle, and you have to out pedal the other homeless people also trying to grab the bottles.
Yeah.
What was weird is
Two of
like,
the
yeah, nah. There's another
two of the
game.
funniest ones. My bad.
Oh, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, two of the funniest ones I've watched someone play were when he becomes the phone call service.
Oh my god, dude. That shit
One
is
of the
so
best
embarrassing.
boss battle.
That is
It
so
is
fucking
weird.
embarrassing, dude. When you there's some like there's a mini game I think like where you have to set your friends up on a date and stuff like that, and you have to like text the girls and stuff like that, and they have all these pre like responses for you to choose to be as suave as possible. It's like super cringy, dude. And because Kiryu was in jail before, and so in Ichiban too, like they were in jail for like 7 to 10 years. They're like new to technology. Like they're new to all this stuff, so they're like trying to figure shit out as they go along, and it's like it's equally funny and equally like
There's a
cringe, dude.
there's an IRL Pokemon thing,
No, dude, you
but they're just
collect
people
people.
in costumes.
You collect people in costumes and you fight them. Like it is fucking hilarious.
But then you fight them.
Yeah, no, you pit them against each other. You like throw them out and they have to fight each other and shit. It is so stupid. It's so stupid, dude.
That's so funny.
But that's
Well, the other one I saw where it was like a cat wrestling
yeah. Oh my god.
cafe or something like that.
If you want to start the Yakuza series, play Kiwami 1 and 2. Kiwami is ultimate in Japanese, and pretty much it's like the literal best versions of them. Just know that you will get like really caught up in like how fucking goofy these games are. And the thing
Yeah.
is, like 3, 4, and 5 aren't like they're so fucking weird because I think like it's either 4 or 5, Brad, where like you play like you have 4 POVs, which is very awkward, and then 5 and 6 are like back to like Kiryu. But 6 is actually sad because it was like, oh, this is the end of the series, and then like, all right, cool, Like a Dragon's out. You want to play Ichiban? You guys want to play a guy who has no right to be here? Like you can play
He
him
imagines himself to be the actual dragon hero.
from Dragon Quest. It's my god, dude. He's like 40. He has no idea what he's doing. He is
Wow.
literally like I think like in the second one, like Infinite Money or Infinite Wealth. I think he's the funniest fucking character. He's so goofy. Like Kiryu is like so annoyed. He's like, "Why are you the way you are?" But yeah, but like when you juxtapose that to the show, it is not in the slightest, bro. They went like full on like drama, and I was so confused, Jack. I was like, oh my god, there's so much cool shit happening, but it was like, okay. So
I may watch that on the side.
Yeah, so we can watch Onimusha, and then you can see
Yep.
why I'm so
Onimusha.
upset. But for down the rabbit hole, it's gonna be Samurai Champloo, which I'm excited about. Did anybody watch Lazarus yet? Anyone watch the first episode at least?
I haven't yet.
Not
Haven't
yet.
had time.
Don't
What
even know what that is.
It's on.
what
the
is it on?
It's on the HBOs, or you could just talk to Chibi about
The HBOs.
the pirating.
Talk to me about pirate. What do you mean?
You don't watch. You don't pay for them services.
Oh yeah, so true.
You ain't paying for the goddamn Crunchyroll, man. Fucking.
I ain't paying for shit. I get that off of Mr. Jacques.
That's a smart move.
No, over the weekend I watched the first season of Jobless Reincarnation.
Mushoku Tensei?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, season 2.
Oh, you watched season one?
Didn't we watch the
Yeah, I
season
watched
1?
it.
We did. So I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't think, did we talk
Yeah.
about the anime?
I thought we did an
Did we-
episode on that.
Did we do?
Yeah,
Well, I
because
didn't watch it.
it's a weird
I don't-
older guy that
I don't
dies by
think-
getting
I
hit
don't
by a
think-
bus or
We
something.
definitely did not, because I did
Yeah.
not ever want to watch that.
I have. So
Oh,
now that
I've watched it.
now that Brad has brought that up, we still have time, dude. Brad, what did you think of that show, dude?
Dude, it went in so many different directions.
It's so weird.
Are you uncomfortable at all?
I mean,
Like-
there are definitely moments where I'm like, okay, that's like you're crossing the line there, buddy. But freaking, why there's 24 episodes per season? I don't, because like they definitely could have broken them up into 2 seasons, because it's a very drastic. Like they segmented it, where he gets teleported. Right, it's like bam. But
It's definitely an anime that you either really love, which people do, or
Yeah.
you're deeply uncomfortable with because of the way they treat Rudius as like this young teenager who just happens to also be like this 36-year-old male.
yeah,
Who
it's
clearly who is clearly aware of his actions too. Right?
Yeah.
And it's it can
I
be
do not I totally I get it. I understand that part. Like that
You
there's
caught-
definitely
I'm
there's
just gonna
definitely like
I'm gonna put text over Brad's face. Like he endorses loving teenagers.
Got caught. 4K admitted.
I was
that's-
watching it with my shorts on.
He
My
was
socks
watching it
on,
the
it was
same way
okay.
the guy was in his bed or couch.
But once again, I was like, crap, this is actually I really like the story of it.
The animation is fantastic.
Except his dad. I absolutely hate Philip. but
Nobody
whatever, you know.
nobody likes his dad.
or
His dad's a
Paul.
fucking,
No, nobody likes him.
he's a shitbag. What a terrible fucking human being. No, I mean, like, it was interesting because, like, I think me and Jack watched it and then we talked about it and then we're like, I don't think we're ever going to do a show on this because I know Chibi will never watch this because there are some people who, like,
Yeah.
hardcore draw the line on it. So, yeah. Jack, did you watch anything recently?
No,
No? Nothing.
no, nothing. I don't think so.
Well, I mean, the good news is Oblivion came out this week. It's on Game Pass. Remastered. It's really good. I was very shocked.
I still got to get through Ghost of Tsushima.
And then Expedition 33 is also going to be out on Game Pass. And Expedition 33 is like an RPG that is getting rave reviews right now. I was talking to Brad about this. I seriously, I was thinking like Lost Odyssey the whole time looking at this game because it's like, I think real time. I think it's like RPG, but like you actually control the actions of the characters when they attack and stuff. Looks very good. I think it's going to be hopefully a massive hit. It's on Game Pass. So if you want to give that a try, play that on the streams. What else came out this week? I think there's a fighting game that came out this week. It wasn't King of Fighters. Well, I think it's King of Fighters adjacent. I can't remember what it's called. I think that's it. Am I missing something? I think that's it. I think it's the only games that came out this week. Brad, look it up, Brad. Help me out.
These are not good schedules.
Tell me what
Did
obscure...
they ever announce when the next season of Fallout's coming out?
I assume next year.
That was so good, actually.
TV series are like, especially with that budget, they're probably
Yeah.
a year in between.
Takes a while.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
You don't need
That was actually
we don't
a
need
lot
a
of
Game of
stuff that
Thrones
came out.
debacle. I saw like some production photos of them. They're pretty much working New Vegas into it, Jack, which is pretty cool.
Oh,
So-
cool.
That's pretty neat. I'm trying to think like, because this month was a busy month for games. Next month I think is going to be equally busy, maybe. And then there's like a lull because I do know Doom: The Dark Ages comes out next month, and I'm really excited for that. Like it's actually
They did
huge.
announce the date for
Ghost of
Ghost of
Yote.
Yote. Yeah.
October 2nd, baby. Let's go. Too bad Jack
Days
can't
Gone-
play for like a year
That's true.
because
Days
PlayStation
Go-
does not put that shit out at the same time, bro.
Days Gone Remastered came out this week.
Yes. which I'm
whatever.
super confused about because why not?
They added a horde mode, so
Hey, I thought there was a horde mode in the original game.
that's half the game.
Chibi's like, what's Days Gone?
La Quimera. I don't know what that is, but it's on PC.
You're making shit up now.
Emerzone, The Explorer's Legacy,
Oh,
Claire Obscure,
anyone
Expedition
play
33?
Indiana Jones: The Great Circle?
No,
It's on Game
Yeah.
Pass.
I heard good things about
I
it.
beat it recently. Holy shit, that was a fucking amazing game. Like, what the hell? The only issues if you play it, there are like really odd transitions. So you go from like first person to third person, or like, you know, in cutscenes you're doing like third person stuff. Like, but like when you go into a cutscene, there's like this weird stop, and then it's like first person. I'm like, there's no shift into the character. I'm like, this is really awkward, and it's throwing me off on every cutscene. And it's weird because every cutscene has been great, but every time they have to stop, it's like, huh. And I'm like, what happened? Where did we go? How did I get here? And then back again. If you love Indiana Jones, you love those films, mainly the first two, you'll absolutely love this game. It's like, it's fantastic. Well done. But that's all I got. Chibi, do you have anything? What do you have for me? There's a rumor, Chibi. There's a rumor coming out that Persona 4 Reload might get announced soon.
Stop.
No, there's a rumor. Like, people
Stop.
Listen, these nerds on Steam, you know, they do that little dive and they look up like the database names and stuff like that. Yeah. And they saw PE4RE, and I was like, don't do that to me.
But it's only going to be on PlayStation the first year.
On
I would fucking buy it for that. I would fucking buy it. I would buy a whole fucking console. Because, like, I was thinking about it, and honestly, like, out of all the Persona games, I think Persona 4, like, Golden, like, that arc is my favorite.
It's crazy because, like, when Persona 4 first came out, I remember I was like, oh, it's a good game. And then Golden came out, I think, on the PSP, and I was like, this is fucking amazing.
No, it, like, enhanced it by 20.
Yeah,
like,
I was like, this is fucking fantastic, bro. Like, I don't
job.
understand why that is, though, by the way. Like, Persona 5 Royal, amazing game. Persona 5 Royal, or Persona 5 Royal, phenomenal game. Like, just better somehow. You just added like a whole nother chapter.
They just know how to, like, really tweak the user experience and make it so much better.
They make it streamable. That's why
they get the feedback.
That's why you need to play Metaphor and beat.
I know.
Metaphor.
It's on my list. Like, I just haven't had time, but like that one for sure. Like, I know I'm gonna love it. Like, just it looks like it's me.
I think Jack would love Metaphor too if he wasn't so into Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Sushi.
Gross.
Sushi.
I've been loving that game.
Dude, it's a great game, man. It really is. That's like one of Chris's favorite games. He's beaten it, I want to say, 7 times or something. He's platinumed it 3 times now.
On PlayStation and then on PC probably twice already.
He like, dude, when he like really latches onto a game, it's really funny to watch him like really get into it and platinum it, like Assassin's Creed. He's like, he'll complain to the high heavens about Assassin's Creed 3, but he'll platinum that bitch. And it was really funny when me and Brad were watching him because he was struggling at one part. We were like, why? He's like, what is happening? He was like, dude, this is bullshit, man. This part's super hard. I was like, is it? Because I would have done it first try. That's a lie. I fucking did not like Assassin's Creed 3 that much.
Ooh.
All right. Anyone got anything? Brad, do you have anything to add? Brad said we're going to watch Onimusha, so if it's bad, we get to hold him accountable. Thank goodness.
Heard. Yes, I love that.
Samurai Champ. Now, Jack's like, redemption arc inbound, baby.
Yeah.
Samurai Champloo. So, look, you guys can watch up to 12 episodes if you want. I'm watching the whole thing again because I don't care. So, we'll do
How many episodes are there?
There's 24.
Total.
Or no, 25. 24, 25.
Okay.
But like I'm telling you, you're going to get hooked.
Yeah, it's really good.
Because anime.
Yeah, anime.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode. Like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Thanks everyone for watching. Let's bring Brad next time. All right. Bye, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See ya.